My husband Yan Chen's first love couldn't have children, so he stole my 1-month-old daughter and gave her away. No matter how I pressed him, Yan Chen refused to say a word about her whereabouts. The agony of losing my daughter tormented me for so long that I finally gave in and turned on the gas valve at home. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the very beginning. Yan Chen knelt by the bed with his head bowed, while the crib beside me was empty. Our daughter gone. Xin, we're still young, we have plenty of chances. Besides, it was just a girl, no great loss. Next time we'll have a son, to carry on the Yan family line. Yan Chen knelt by my bedside, looking at me with earnest eyes, repeating the same words I'd heard 1,000 times. I couldn't help myself and slapped him across the face. Yan Chen is the only son in his family, and I know just how badly they wanted a boy. When I was giving birth to Xiao Xiao, all of the Yan family's aunts and relatives were waiting outside the delivery room. Less than an hour after the birth, they had all left. Even my mother-in-law found an excuse to leave the house the very next day, all because I had given birth to a daughter. Yan Chen, do you even understand? I can't live without Xiao Xiao. I reached out and touched his face, choking back sobs several times. I understand. I do. Of course you have feelings for her after carrying her for 10 months, and so do I. But you know Qingzhu's situation, she can never have children of her own. You've seen how much she adores Xiao Xiao. She'll treat her as her own daughter. You can be sure of that. I gave a bitter smile. He didn't understand at all. I truly cannot go on living, but perhaps fate thought I hadn't suffered enough, and sent me back to this exact moment in time. Yan Chen kept me drugged and under control for 3 days. That was more than enough time for Du Qingzhu to take Xiao Xiao and disappear to a place I could never find. Everything that needed to be said was said countless times in my past life. Between Yan Chen and me, there is simply nothing left to say. I gave him a cold look, pushed him aside, and got out of bed. My mother passed away early, and my father remarried when I was 8. I've spent half my life without a father's care or a mother's love. How could I trust anyone else to take care of Xiao Xiao in my place? No one can replace me, no one. But Yan Chen is in love with Du Qingzhu. In my past life, I tried every method, even threatening suicide, yet he refused to reveal a single clue about her whereabouts. In this new life, what else can I possibly do? Perhaps sensing my icy demeanor, Yan Chen didn't dare stray a single step behind me. I lit the stove and started cooking as if he weren't there. My stomach cramping from 3 days without food, I tore open a packet of instant noodles, dropped them into boiling water, then opened the fridge and fished out an egg. Xin, you're still recovering. Go wait, I'll cook for you. He tried to take the chopsticks from my hand, but I pulled away. Xin, I know you're mad at me. If you're angry, just let it out. You can hit me or yell at me. Just please don't be like this. I turned my head and gave him a strange look. In my past life, I had gone berserk smashing furniture, and he called me a lunatic. This time, I'm perfectly calm, yet he's still terrified. I know I was wrong. Xin, I really do. I promise, for the rest of my life, I'll listen to everything you say. Let's just pretend we never had a child. Let's live a good life, take care of our health, and next year we can have a healthy baby boy to carry on the family line. Mom and Dad will be over the moon. Not interested. All I want is my Xiao Xiao. I finished a bowl of noodles in a few bites, washed the dishes, and went back to the bedroom. Looking at the baby supplies that filled half the room, I couldn't help but feel my nose sting with tears, and Yan Chen was still following me around, chattering away, apologizing, saying all the right things, but never once mentioning where Xiao Xiao was. Too. Yan Chen, I'm asking you one last time, where did Du Qingzhu go? The torrent of words was cut off as if a switch had been flipped, and silence lingered behind him for a long time. I knew all along I wouldn't get an answer. Wiping the tears from my face, I began to pack up the baby things in the room. I found a few large cardboard boxes in the corner, packed everything, and placed them by the front door. When you go downstairs, just throw them out. Since the child is gone, there's no point in keeping any of this. Yan Chen's parents are back from their trip. Yan Chen must have briefed them beforehand, as neither of them ever mentioned Xiao Xiao. If it weren't for the occasional question from the downstairs neighbor about how the child was doing when I went out, it would be as if Xiao Xiao had never existed in this world since that day. I haven't asked about Xiao Xiao either. All the baby supplies at home were thrown out. Seeing that I was being sensible, my mother-in-law's attitude toward me changed dramatically. She started preparing all sorts of nourishing meals for me every day to help me recover. Late at night, after we were intimate, Yan Chen would always place his hand on my belly and praying that I would conceive a healthy, chubby baby boy. But I knew deep down it was utterly impossible. My obedience put Yan Chen at ease, and he gradually let his guard down around me, all while secretly contacting Du Qingzhu on his phone. The two of them began to flirt under the guise of trivial matters, and I saw it all. Late at night, after Yenchen fell into a deep sleep, I would sneak a peek at his phone. I saw Xiaoxiao's recent photos. In each picture, she looked like a little sticky rice ball, cradled in someone's arms with a pacifier in her mouth. Her eyes and brows looked just like mine. It's just a shame we still haven't been able to find out where Du Qingzhu is. I sighed and looked at Yenchen's sleeping face in the faint glow of my phone. He's really handsome. It's a pretty, almost feminine kind of handsomeness, a delicate beauty. Du Qingzhu was 3 years older than him, and the two of them were childhood sweethearts, but Du Qingzhu's attitude towards him was always ambiguous. In my view, Yenchen was just her backup plan. Back when Du Qingzhu decided to get married, Yenchen got completely wasted. And I was the one who took him home. We were classmates back then, and I admit I always had a secret crush on him. I was the one by his side when he was nursing a broken heart. If he was Du Qingzhu's devoted admirer, then I was his. I was overjoyed to be with him, beyond words, even though I knew full well I wasn't his first choice. Yet I married him without hesitation, simply because I loved him. He wasn't exactly bad to me. He just fulfilled the basic duties expected of a husband. I was content. Before Xiaoxiao was born, I was always content. It's just a shame that only after having Xiaoxiao did I realize that a man wasn't that important to me. My child is the one who truly holds my heart. For the May Day holiday, Yenchen's workplace let out early, and he happily discussed with me where we should travel. How about Xinjiang? I've heard the scenery along the way is absolutely breathtaking. With only a week off, a road trip probably isn't enough time. I moved closer to him and reached out to put my arm around his neck. Alright, forget it then. I know you're tired from work too. We could just go somewhere like Chu County. What's so great about Chu County? You haven't had a proper trip in ages. We can go to Chu County anytime. Let's just take the road trip to Xinjiang. Yenchen took annual leave from work again, packed our things, and drove me to Xinjiang. I know he still feels guilty towards me. He's been so good to me lately. Better than ever. He never refuses any of my requests, but he never mentions the little things. I don't ask either. Just occasionally find myself staring out the window. I'd deliberately space out right when he could see me. 3. The scenery on the road to Xinjiang was truly stunning. We set out early, and the closer we got, the fewer cars there were. Some stretches of road were utterly remote, just a single highway cutting through an endless grassland, under a vast, brilliant blue sky. Xin. When we're old, let's retire here. The air is so fresh and the scenery is beautiful. Spending the rest of our lives here would make it all worthwhile. Sure, I replied absent-mindedly, looking down at the navigation map on my phone. Then we'll have our son buy us a plot of land here, somewhere in the suburbs close to the city. That way, if he ever needs us for anything, we can fly over to him right away. I unscrewed the cap of my cola and held it to his lips. You're really getting ahead of yourself. Here, have a drink. He turned his head and looked at me happily, as if those longed-for days were just around the corner, but I knew he was destined never to achieve them. The road got a bit rough at one point. I took a sip of my cola just as we hit a bump and choked on it. After a few coughs, someone handed me a tissue. Careful there. You okay? I'm fine. It's just a shame about the drink. I'd only had a few sips before I spilled it. I don't mind sharing with you. I rolled down the window and poured the Coke out, letting the howling wind carry it away. Why'd you throw it out? I told you I don't mind. No, I do. With those words, I gave a wave of my hand and tossed the bottle into the roadside bushes. I watched that flash of red disappear into the grass before slowly rolling up the car window. Oops, I dropped it. Great, now I'm littering. He reached over and patted my head, his face breaking into a doting smile. 10 minutes later, on the highway to Xinjiang, an SUV speeding along suddenly began to swerve erratically. The front end veered left and right, careening dangerously close to the edge of the road. It finally hit a stretch of rough, uneven pavement and shot straight onto the grassy verge. The car flipped once in midair, landing nose first. Within 2 minutes, thick black smoke began to pour from it. I shook my head hard, trying to clear it, and struggled to crawl out of the passenger seat. Half my body was covered in blood. Even braced for the impact, I still ended up with a broken arm and a broken leg. I figured Yenchen was probably in even worse shape. Ignoring the black smoke billowing from under the hood, I grabbed the crowbar from the trunk and pried the mangled car door off with brute force. Yenchen was in a bad way. I couldn't be sure if he was going to make it. He was out cold, his face covered in blood. I forced his legs apart, took the sharper end of the crowbar, and drove it straight down into the center. He let out a muffled groan but didn't wake up. Thankfully, he didn't wake up. I wasn't ready to kill anyone. My last memory was dragging Yenchen toward the highway. A sudden explosion roared behind us, followed by a wave of searing heat. And then everything went black. I spent 2 days in the ICU before being transferred to a regular ward. It was a full 2 weeks before I finally regained consciousness. I know my injuries are severe, at the moment of the accident. Even though Yan Chen was disoriented, he instinctively protected himself, exposing the passenger seat to the more dangerous side, but I gritted my teeth and carried out my perfect plan. The result now is exactly what I've been dreaming of. When I came to, no one had noticed yet. I turned my head, searching around, and saw Yan Chen lying on another hospital bed. He was staring blankly at the ceiling, not blinking for the longest time. "Darling," I called out to him several times before he slowly turned to look at me. Xin, you're awake, darling. How are you feeling?" He gave me a comforting smile, though it was tinged with bitterness. "Don't worry, I'm fine." How could you possibly be fine? Did I miss the mark? Not at all. One of his little quail eggs burst, and the other, while not shattered, was also injured. Most importantly, his manhood was broken, and because he wasn't taken to the hospital immediately, delaying treatment, Yan Chen is now the last eunuch of the new era. He was in a slump for a long time, like a different person. He wouldn't speak for days on end, and several times at night I could hear sobbing from the next bed, so much like me, silent, lost in thought. Suffering alone. Yan Chen had no memory of how the accident happened. That part was completely lost to him. It was as if even heaven was on my side. My in-laws came to the hospital every day. Seeing Yan Chen's despondency, my mother-in-law would secretly cry. Several times, she tried to lash out at me, but my father-in-law always stopped her. After all, I was the one who saved Yan Chen's life. I slowly recounted the details of the accident, including how, despite my own injuries, I managed to pull Yan Chen back from the brink of death in those critical first moments. The car was burned down to a metal frame. We were brought to the hospital by kind passers-by. As soon as I felt a little better, I struggled out of bed to keep vigil by Yan Chen's bedside every day. I did my utmost to console him and lift his spirits. In my in-laws' eyes, I was nothing short of perfect to Yan Chen. I love Yan Chen so much I would give my life for him. Even if Yan Chen were impotent, I would never leave him. Gradually, his spirits lifted. It's true, someone enveloped in love can weather any storm. The only pity was that love was a lie. He was discharged before me. I, however, had a few close calls with the Grim Reaper due to an infected wound. Yan Chen waited outside the operating room, praying for my safety. When I finally regained consciousness, he was in tears. Xin, you absolutely cannot get hurt. If something happens to you, I won't want to live either. I don't think he was lying. In his current state, where else could he find someone who loves him more than I do? But truth or lies, I don't really care. I had over a dozen metal plates put in my body. The blast wave from the explosion caused me secondary injuries. Yan Chen, on the other hand, got off relatively lightly, just a broken leg and some superficial wounds. Many relatives and friends came to the hospital to see us. They were all very sorry to hear our news. A few of the older great-aunts, upon hearing that Yan Chen had injured his manhood, were so upset they slapped their thighs in frustration. Yan Chen is done for. The Yan family line ends with him. Second great-aunt, please don't say that. Even if it's just the two of us, Yan Chen and I will be fine. Plenty of dink couples live perfectly happy lives these days. How can that be? Don't talk to me about being dink or not dink. It's all fun and games now. But what are you going to do when you're old and something happens? There'll be no one around to help you. Honestly, why not just adopt one? I have a friend who works as a caregiver at an orphanage. Your situation fits the criteria perfectly. Kids from orphanages are no good. They all have problems. In this day and age, who would send a perfectly healthy child to an orphanage? Hey, didn't you have a child before? Just get her back from whoever you gave her to. Even though she's a girl, she's still your own flesh and blood. Having one ready-made is much better than taking in someone else's kid. The younger sister-in-law from fourth uncle's family was young when she suddenly blurted out what everyone else had been avoiding. The room fell silent. Yan Chen's face darkened like the bottom of a pot. He stood up and stormed out the door. Everyone exchanged meaningful glances, but in the end, it was second aunt who spoke first. Sister-in-law, if you ask me, Xiaoyin is right. What's wrong with a girl? I was furious when you told me you'd given her away. What era is this to still favor sons over daughters? I say you should bring the child back home right away, with a little one running around the house. Xiao Chen won't have time to dwell on his own problems. These words were directed at my mother-in-law. The old lady hesitated for a long time, then looked at my father-in-law. She was clearly swayed by the idea. 5. I didn't voice any opinion about taking Xiaoyin. I just stood by and watched as my in-laws tried to persuade Yan Chen. Yan Chen was very agitated and even had a few heated arguments with his parents. I gave them my word. How can you ask me to go back on it now? Do you want me to lose all face? Which is more important, your pride or your child? You can't have any more children. Xiao is your only one. Well, she's still young and won't remember. Go get her back now. Just pretend she was never given away. If you wait another 2 years, be careful she grows up resenting you for it. Mom, it was you who was so desperate for a grandson in the first place. Now you're so attached to this little girl. I wanted a grandson, but I never told you to give my granddaughter away. You can't give me a grandson now, can you? She's my only granddaughter. If you don't get her back for me, don't blame me for disowning you as my son." A loud bang came from the door. Yan Chen must have stormed out. Slamming it behind him, father-in-law was scolding mother-in-law for her hurtful words, and soon, soft sobs could be heard from the living room holding onto the support rail. I turned a corner and continued with my exercises. If all goes well, Xiao Xiao should be coming home soon. I need to recover quickly. My little Xiao Xiao still needs me. Yan Chen hasn't come home for days. In my current condition, I can't go out to look for him. At least he still picks up my calls. "Honey, Mom and Dad went looking for you again today. Where on earth are you? I'll be back in a few days. Tell them not to worry." After hanging up, I knew the answer in my heart. I just heard a child crying from Yan Chen's side. He must have gone to find Xiao Xiao. I logged into the app to track Yan Chen's movements. Since he just got into a car accident and wouldn't dare drive for a while, he must have taken a plane or high-speed train to get out of town at 1:30 p.m. 2 days ago. Yan Chen boarded a flight to Jiashi City. Du Qingzhu has gone into hiding in Jiashi City. I recall that Du Qingzhu's ex-husband was from Jiashi City. Du Qingzhu's ex-husband was a hoodlum, always up to no good and without a steady job. 3 years ago, disaster struck when her ex-husband accidentally killed someone and was sent to prison. Not long after, her daughter died after accidentally ingesting a hazardous substance at kindergarten. Du Qingzhu fell ill after giving birth and had to undergo a hysterectomy, leaving her unable to have any more children. She's a pitiful woman, but no matter how pitiful she is, she has no right to take my Xiao Xiao away from me. Since Yan Chen went to see her, he must have something in mind. But Du Qingzhu is so good at sweet-talking people. I'm genuinely worried Yan Chen will get wrapped around her finger all over again. My mother-in-law asked if I knew where Yan Chen was. I shook my head and said I didn't know. "Mom, Xiao Chen has a strong sense of pride. Since she promised someone, I doubt she'd go back on her word easily." My mother-in-law was furious with me. She pointed her finger right at my face and started yelling. "I truly can't fathom what goes on in that head of yours. That's your own daughter. How can you be so indifferent? If it were my daughter who was taken away, I'd move heaven and earth to find her. How would she know I hadn't tried everything? In my past life, I even threatened to take my own life to force the search for my daughter, yet she accused me of not knowing what was important, saying a mere girl wasn't worth the trouble. Since my own efforts were futile, I decided to stop searching. After all, someone else is looking into it for me now. On the 5th day, Yan Chen returned. He stormed into the house with a dark scowl on his face and didn't utter a single word. My mother-in-law was about to lose her temper but was stopped. My father-in-law said we shouldn't push him too hard. There was a milky scent on Yan Chen, and the moment I caught a whiff, I almost lost my composure. It was my daughter's fragrance. Closing my eyes, she felt so close I could almost touch her. Just a little longer. Hold on a bit more. It's almost over. 6. My body recovered quickly. Once Yan Chen had healed from his injuries, he went back to work. The house seemed unchanged, yet the size of my in-laws still drifted through from time to time. Over the weekend, my cousin and his family were heading out to a wedding. Before they left, they dropped off their little girl, not yet 2 years old, at my place and asked me to look after her. My little niece was dressed in a pink princess dress, looking just like a doll, clutching a large can of formula in her arms. She pouted her little mouth and called out "Auntie" when she saw me. "What's this? Bringing your own snacks? Afraid I'd let you go hungry." I gently pinched my little niece's soft cheek, teasing her. I've been doting on this child since she was born, visiting my cousin's house every day even before she arrived. You have no idea. While you were unwell and couldn't visit, she missed you terribly. She kept cooing nonstop, like a little rooster. Now that you're better, I rushed her over. If she didn't see you soon, she'd have started laying eggs at home out of frustration. My sister-in-law squeezed my hand, then glanced meaningfully toward my mother-in-law, who was watching the child with eager eyes. I gave a slight, understanding nod. "Auntie, I'm really sorry to trouble you with this. My younger sister's wedding is coming up, and there's just so much to handle. It's really not convenient for me to bring the little one along, and I don't have anyone else close by I can ask." After thinking it over, sending her here is the only place I feel completely at ease. The little girl wasn't shy at all, with just a little coaxing from my mother-in-law. She toddled over on unsteady legs and threw herself into her arms, listening to my sister-in-law's polite words. My mother-in-law held the child, utterly enchanted and reluctant to let go. "No trouble at all. Anyone from Xinxin's family is family to us. We're all one family here." no need for formalities. Besides, this little one is so adorable, I can't get enough of her. After my cousin and his wife left, I didn't need to look after my little niece at all. My in-laws doted on her as if she were the apple of their eye. Mom, it's the afternoon, you and Dad should go take a nap, let me have the baby. Oh, no need, you've never taken care of a child before, you won't manage well. Besides, your health can't handle her energy, you go rest, we'll take care of the baby. Your dad and I, my mother-in-law and father-in-law took the baby back to the room for a nap. Just as the door was closing, the little one looked at me and smiled, revealing her sparse rows of tiny baby teeth. I think about Xiao Xiao all day, but I don't dare to actually pressure Yan Chen. At their age, my in-laws should get to know the joy of having grandchildren around. When Yan Chen came home from work in the evening, he froze for a long moment at the sight of little Bao crawling all over the floor. Honey, you're back, go wash your hands, dinner's ready. What's little Bao doing here? I told him all about my cousin's family situation. He just raised an eyebrow and didn't say much. Just as we sat down at the table, Xiaobao started huffing and puffing, struggling to climb up Yan Chen's pant leg. Yan Chen reached out and scooped Xiaobao into his arms, holding her like that throughout the entire meal. The table was filled with laughter and cheerful conversation, something that had been absent for a long time. Xiaobao's arrival had rekindled the warmth in this family. After dinner, we went out for a stroll. My in-laws were waiting at the door, both eager to hold little Bao. Bao was such a sweetheart, clinging to his grandma's neck and calling out Grandma. Right away he didn't forget Grandpa either, covering his face with slobbery kisses. Grandpa just wiped his face and grinned from ear to ear. I took it all in, including the way Yan Chen watched Bao, his eyes fixed and unblinking. 5 days later, Bao was picked up by his cousin. The atmosphere at home instantly turned ice cold. That evening, my mother-in-law called Yan Chen over for a long, heart-to-heart talk that lasted half the night. The outcome was far from satisfactory. Lying in bed, listening to the sounds from next door, my heart sank. Even after all this, it's still not enough. 7. I lay there with my eyes closed, trying to figure out what to do next, when the blanket was suddenly tugged. Yan Chen was back. Honey, why aren't you asleep yet? With all that racket, how could I possibly sleep? The lights were off, and the room was pitch black, save for the faint, scattered moonlight filtering through the curtains. I could just barely make out Yan Chen's profile in the dimness. His eyes were still open. Xin, do you blame me? It was a statement without context, but I knew exactly what he meant. I swallowed hard, my voice low when I finally spoke. I will. Yan Chen sighed and reached for my hand under the covers. I'm sorry. What good is sorry? It won't bring Xiao Xiao back. Qingzhu took very good care of Xiao Xiao, you can rest assured. I pulled my hand free, turned over, and said nothing more. Just as I was racking my brains for a solution, my mother-in-law had an accident that morning. She had another argument with Yan Chen. After he left for work and my father-in-law went to church, only the two of us were left in the house. I heard a heavy thud from the bedroom next door and rushed over to find my mother-in-law had tried to hang herself, but she had tied the rope to the ceiling light fixture, which couldn't possibly support her weight of over 100 pounds. The connection point snapped immediately, and the entire ceiling panel came crashing down on her head. When the ambulance arrived at the hospital, Yan Chen had already gotten there first. Her mother-in-law's face was covered in blood. The moment she was carried out of the vehicle, Yan Chen was so terrified that his legs gave way and he collapsed to his knees outside the operating room. The father-in-law, who had been farther away, finally arrived and immediately started beating Yan Chen. If anything happens to your mother, I'll beat you to death. You worthless bastard, how could you give away your own child? Did I give birth to you without a brain? Is that woman really that important? More important than your own daughter? My cousin and his family were also there, having been trying to break up the fight. They froze upon hearing those words. What woman? What woman are you talking about? It was as if my father-in-law only just noticed the outsiders present. He suddenly clammed up, but my cousin wasn't letting him off the hook, pressing him to explain what he meant. Bro, stop asking. Yan Chen gave Xiao Xiao away to do Qingzhu, his first love. I spoke up slowly from the corner. The moment my brother heard me, he kicked Yan Chen to the ground. Xian told me you gave the child away. I wanted to beat the shit out of you right then and there. If Xian hadn't stopped me from getting involved. Do you really think you'd still be breathing? You think you can push her around because she doesn't have family to back her up? What the hell do you take me for? I'm her brother. You clearly don't see us as people either. The tables had turned. My brother was throwing punches. My father-in-law was trying to break it up, while Yan Chen just lay on the ground the whole time, covering his head and not putting up any fight at all. Xin gave up half her life for you. If it weren't for her, you'd be fucking dead. And now you hand your own daughter over to another woman. Have you even thought about what happens to Xin? Is she supposed to just follow you around like this until the day she dies? After venting his anger, my brother grabbed my arm and tried to pull me away. My Xin doesn't need you to survive. She could get another husband and live just fine, have sons or daughters, no problem. Yan Chen, you still can't see it, can you? You're a fucking useless wreck. In this lifetime, forget about having a son. Without Xin, you couldn't even find yourself a wife. If I'd known it would come to this, I would have made Xin divorce you a long time ago, but it's not too late. Xin, come with me, get a divorce, your brother and sister-in-law will take care of you. My brother had only just pulled me a few steps away when Yanchen threw his arms around my legs. You can't leave, Xin, you can't go. 8. My sister-in-law was fierce. She grabbed Yanchen by the hair and slapped him several times. What's stopping us from leaving? Look at the state you're in. Why should Xin stay with you? The baby's gone. What reason does she have to keep living with you? Xin, listen to your sister-in-law. You have nothing left to hold on to here. What good is a man like this? Don't cry. I'll handle this for you. My brother and his wife took me away, driving back to their house. Xin, are you sure this will work this time? My brother gripped the steering wheel, lifting his hand to ease his wrist. If I fail this time, I'll have no choice but to go to Jiashi. I'll turn that city upside down if I have to, but I will find Xiao. I sighed as I watched the scenery whizzing past the window. The moment I realized what my mother-in-law was up to, I immediately dialed 120. My mother-in-law's plan backfired. She never intended to die. She just wanted to scare Yan Chen, but she never expected the ceiling to collapse entirely. I was genuinely shocked when I saw her face covered in blood on the way to the hospital. I took out my phone and texted my sister-in-law. My mother-in-law has set the stage for me. It would be a shame not to play my part. You're hopeless. How did you manage to sprain your own hand hitting someone who wouldn't even fight back? I was so furious. When I finally got the chance to hit him, I just lost it. My sister-in-law was gently massaging my brother's wrist, sitting in the back. I couldn't help but laugh watching them. It's a good thing I'm not completely alone in this. I stayed at my sister-in-law's for a few days and didn't answer any of Yan Chen's calls. I heard your mother-in-law's injuries are quite serious. She's been in the hospital all day, feeling dizzy and nauseous, drifting in and out of consciousness. Xin, you're going back to the hospital for a follow-up tomorrow, right? My sister-in-law was holding little Bao to feed him, but he was fussing and reaching for me, struggling against the bottle. Yes, to check how the bone is healing. All right, just hand little Bao over to me. Stop bothering your aunt. She's not feeling well. When your brother gets back, have him drive you home to get your medical records. You'll need them for the hospital tomorrow. I nodded and looked down to play with Xiaobao. My brother dropped me off downstairs. He wanted to come up with me, but I refused. Don't worry, Yanchen wouldn't dare lay a hand on me. I knew Yanchen was home. There's a very friendly lady in the complex who's now my informant. She spends all day walking her little dog around the neighborhood. I asked her to keep an eye on the Yan household for me. I opened the door and went inside. Yan Chen was in the kitchen, cooking. I acted as if I hadn't seen him and went straight to the bedroom. I pulled open the drawer and started rummaging for the medical records I needed. Xin, you're back. Have you eaten? I've got some pork bones simmering in the pot. I ignored him. After finding the medical records, I started looking for clothes. Xin, what are you doing? You're still mad at me, aren't you? I'm sorry. Please don't be angry. Xin, let go. Xin, Mom's condition is very serious. She's been diagnosed with brain tissue damage, and the doctor says there will be lasting effects. I shook off his hand gripping my arm and took a step back. What does that have to do with me? What are you saying? Xin, Mom is sick. She needs you. Am I the one she needs right now? Don't you know who she's always wanted? Did I make her sick? Did I drive her to suicide? Yan Chen, don't you understand the root of all this? You can't wake someone who's pretending to be asleep, right? Do I really need to remind you why Mom killed herself? Xin, you've changed. You weren't like this before. I haven't changed. I've just finally seen things clearly. I could have overlooked your flaws. I could have spent my whole life with you like this. But Mom's obsession with Xiaoxiao was a wake-up call for me. Yan Chen, in your heart, Du Qingzhu will always come first. She's above me. Above Mom, above everyone. So tell me, what reason do I have left to stay by your side? No, Xin, you're all very important to me too, but no one is as important as her. Yan Chen, I love you. I'd give my life for you, but the one you love will never be me. I was lugging a huge bag of clothes when I opened the front door, only to find my brother standing right there. Yan Chen, who was behind me and trying to say something in his defense, suddenly fell silent. Too scared to speak at the sight of my brother took my luggage. Shot a glare at Yan Chen, then turned to press the elevator button. Yan Chen, once mom's condition stabilizes, let's talk and go get the divorce finalized. Just before the elevator doors closed, I heard Yan Chen's final, shouted words, I won't divorce you, it's you I love the most, not her. 9. I received a video from Yan Chen. It was filmed in a hospital. My mother-in-law was lying in bed, her head wrapped in bandages, looking at Yan Chen with a silly grin, and in Yan Chen's arms was Xiao Xiao. I rushed to the hospital without even changing my shoes. My sister-in-law followed me and even took a tumble. Xin, slow down, your brother will be here any minute, just hold on. My heart was already in the hospital room. I couldn't wait to see my child after nearly a year apart. I finally saw my little one again. I held my little one tightly, sobbing uncontrollably. I've endured the agony of separation twice. This little one was in my belly for 10 months, and I've been dreaming of her ever since. Little one, mommy has finally found you. This time, no one can take her from me unless I'm dead. My sister-in-law held me the whole time, and just before I cried myself into a faint, my brother finally arrived. Only when Yan Chen saw my mood had improved slightly did he dare to approach. Xin, Xiao Xiao is back. Our Xiao Xiao is back, and she'll never leave us again. I ignored him, my eyes fixed unwaveringly on Xiao Xiao. Suddenly, the door was flung open. A disheveled woman stumbled into the room, her gaze instantly locking onto the child in my arms. She rushed forward in a few frantic steps, intent on snatching her away. Xiao Xiao, give me back my child, give me back my daughter. My brother and sister-in-law immediately shielded me, and the woman, though being held back, was still trying to lunge forward like a madwoman. Qingzhu, calm down, I'm the one who's wronged you, but I really can't let you have Xiao Xiao anymore. Yan Chen grabbed her by the waist and pulled her back, only for Du Qingzhu to turn around and slap him across the face. Yan Chen, that's my child. Impossible. Xiao Xiao was born with a round birthmark on her shoulder. I just checked under her clothes. This is Xiao Xiao. Qingzhu, my family truly cannot go on without this child. Please, consider it a debt I owe you. Give her back to me, won't you? No, this child is mine. Once you gave her to me, she became mine. No one is taking her away. She tried to lunge forward and snatch the child, but my sister-in-law subdued her in a few moves. So you're due. Qingzhu, right, Yan Chen's first love. I'm Xinxin's sister-in-law. Xiao Xiao was carried and born by Xinxin after 10 long months of pregnancy. Did you ever ask for Xinxin's permission before trying to take Xiao Xiao? Yan Chen stole the child and gave her to you, and then you vanished with her. That's illegal. Do you even understand the law? I don't care. Yan Chen gave her to me, so she's mine. I've raised her all this time. She is mine. No one can take her away. I am her real mother. Qingzhu's state wasn't right. It reminded me of my past life, a bit unhinged, yet still lucid. Yan Chen, you stole my child when I wasn't looking. I'm calling the police on you. They'll arrest all of you. Xiao Xiao can only be mine. She struggled desperately. After watching for a moment, my brother took out his phone and called the police. Du Qingzhu was taken away by the police on suspicion of child trafficking. Yan Chen was taken away as well, and as the child's mother, I also needed to accompany the police to the station. Before I left, I entrusted Xiao Xiao to my sister-in-law to look after. My mother-in-law struggled, trying to get out of bed. Xiao Xiao, you can't go. Give her to me. I can't. I'm her mother. She stays with me. My father-in-law still hadn't grasped the gravity of the situation. He was only focused on restraining my mother-in-law and didn't intervene further. Little did they know, that was the last time they would ever see Xiao Xiao at the police station. I immediately initiated legal proceedings. I sued both Yan Chen and Du Qingzhu. Neither of them was getting away. Yan Chen requested to see me. After some thought, I agreed. Xian, Xiao Xiao is back now. Can you please let Qingzhu go? He's still in handcuffs, yet even now he's living in his own world. Will she let me and Xiao Xiao go? She won't. I know her state of mind all too well right now. It's a fight to the death. She will. I'll go talk to her. I can persuade her. Save your breath, both of you are the death of me. Don't even think I'll let you off the hook now. Not a chance. How can you say that? We got along just fine during the time Xiao Xiao wasn't around. I narrowed my eyes, suddenly finding I had no desire to speak to him any further. What I've been through, how could he possibly understand? Yan Chen, do you really think a mother can be fine after losing her child? You're underestimating a mother's love. What do you mean by that? Nothing much. I just mean that from now on, neither I nor Xiao Xiao have anything to do with you, since you care so much about Du Qingzhu. Just wait for her to get out of prison and spend the rest of your life with her. Honestly, you two are a perfect match. neither of you can have children, one's defective, the other's dysfunctional, a match made in heaven in my past life. I called the police too, but Yenchen used my supposed postpartum depression as an excuse to confine me at home, dismissing the officers with just a few words. When my brother and sister-in-law came to visit, Yenchen directly gave me medication that clouded my mind. He told my brother I had a mental illness, producing a forged diagnosis on the spot, claiming he feared I might harm the child. He sent my in-laws back to the countryside with Xiao Xiao. He cut off every possible escape route I had, driving me to my death, all just to fulfill the wish of his beloved white moonlight. There's no way I would let them off the hook. Du Qingzhu was suspected of child trafficking. However, due to the special circumstances of the case and a subsequent diagnosis of intermittent psychosis, she was not sentenced but instead committed to a psychiatric hospital for confinement. Yenchen was sentenced to 1 year in prison, and I went through the procedures to divorce him smoothly. Xiao Xiao is in my custody. I proactively petitioned the court to sever the father-son relationship between Xiao Xiao and Yenchen. Given the prior child trafficking case, the court granted my request. I took Xiao Xiao to a new city, rented an apartment, and went back to my old line of work. I'm a drafting engineer. In my spare time while caring for Xiao Xiao, I take on freelance work online. It's more than enough to support us. I heard my mother-in-law has developed early onset dementia. Her son doesn't take care of her, and she wanders around in a confused state all day, desperately looking for her granddaughter. He would snatch other people's children without a second thought, and got beaten up for it many times. In a way, it's fitting. In her past life, she never cared for Xiao Xiao, but in this life, she'll be thinking of Xiao Xiao until her dying day. A year later, Yenchen was released from prison. I don't know what he went through inside, but he never came looking for me. My sister-in-law said he visits Du Qingzhu every few days. Du Qingzhu's condition is like Qiyun's. She cradles a pillow, calling it baby. Little Xiao grew up so fast, and in the blink of an eye, she started kindergarten. I also transitioned from taking freelance work online to a regular office job. My colleagues, aware of my situation, enthusiastically tried to set me up on dates, but I turned down every single offer. For the rest of my life, my only wish is to raise little Xiao well. Though she may lack a father's love, she will have a double portion of a mother's love, protecting her for a lifetime. The end. Story 2. It's already past 11 at night, and Zhangzhou still hasn't returned. I waited for him until my eyelids kept drooping. Suddenly, my best friend Meow Meow sent me a message. Quick, check out Zhangzhou's social media post. I took out my phone, unlocked the screen, and opened his moments. Zhangzhou rarely posts on moments, but this time he shared a photo with a caption, "You will always be my pride." The woman leaning against him with a charming smile in the photo is his childhood sweetheart, Skyching. I opened the photo, zoomed in, and examined it carefully. The smile on Zhangzhou's face was one of genuine delight. My heart slowly sank. Zhangzhou hardly ever posts on social media and has never shared anything about me there. He hasn't uttered a single word about our wedding next month either. I remember once asking him if he could post a photo of us together on his social media. He squinted with a casual smile. Our love doesn't need to be validated by others. At that moment, I caught sight of a fashion magazine on the table, its front page highlighted with an advertisement slogan from a luxury brand. What's made public isn't necessarily the favorite, while what's kept private must be the dearest. I couldn't help but feel a tinge of irony. Are the most beloved buried deep in the heart, while only the less cherished are posted on social media? That proud and boastful look in his photo, what's with the attitude, as if flaunting his prized possession for all to see? 3 years ago, when Zhangzhou was at his lowest point, his childhood sweetheart Skyching chose to study abroad in country M. At that time, I admired Zhangzhou and chose to stay by his side to accompany him during his toughest days. His career gradually improved, and when he was named one of the most outstanding entrepreneurs under 30 in the Asia-Pacific region, he proposed to me. Our wedding is scheduled for next week, and everything is ready. But unexpectedly, Skyching came back. Meow Meow didn't receive my reply and called me. "Belle, are you okay?" I smiled faintly. "I'm fine. What could possibly be wrong? Skyching is back, and you know about her relationship with Zhangzhou. Belle Sue, if you're unhappy, you must tell me. I'm so worried about you." I turned to comfort Meow Meow, also comforting myself. "It's okay. We're getting married soon." At this moment, the sound of the door lock echoed. It must be Zhangzhou returning. I bid Meow Meow farewell and hung up the phone. Zhangzhou walked in, carrying a mix of alcohol and an unfamiliar perfume scent. "Why aren't you asleep yet?" He loosened his tie, unbuttoned his suit jacket, and sat down on the sofa. In the past, I would eagerly step forward to massage his head and then make him a cup of honey water. At this moment, I stood still, not moving a muscle. Zhangzhou slightly lifted his eyelids to glance at me. "What's up?" I curled my fingers slightly, gripping the phone in my hand. Skyching is back. Zhou nodded. Yes, she studied finance in M country. And I've already arranged for her to join the company's investment department. He said it so naturally that I was momentarily at a loss for words. After a long pause, my lips trembled as I asked, why? Zhou turned to me. Skyching graduated with top honors from the world's #1 business school. Of course, I couldn't let such talent slip away. His gaze held confusion, as if I had asked an unthinkable question. My heart ached for a moment, but then I remembered something more important. What about my matter? Have you given it any thought? Zhou covered his eyes with his hands, his tone carrying a hint of complaint. Belle Sue, I'm already exhausted. Can we talk about this tomorrow? The next day, when I woke up, Zhou had already left. He was extremely disciplined. No matter how late he slept the night before, he could always wake up on time and go to the company after freshening up and changing clothes. I also headed to Zhou's company. My company's cash flow has broken, and we urgently need an investment to alleviate the current situation. Otherwise, the company will have no choice but to declare bankruptcy. I hope Zhou's company can invest in mine. He promised me he would discuss it at the company's executive meeting. I arrived at the entrance of his company. I told the receptionist girl that I wanted to see Zhou. The new receptionist girl stared at me wide-eyed, as if I were a fraud. Do you have an appointment? I frowned. Just then, a pleasant female voice came from behind. Belle Sue, is that you? I turned around and saw Skyching standing there in a professional suit, her lips a bright shade. It's been years since we last met, and her competent aura has grown even stronger. Holding a coffee cup in one hand, she extended the other toward me. Long time no see. Ever since I found out last night that she had joined Zhou's company, she's the last person I'd want to run into at his workplace. I composed my expression and gave her a light handshake. Long time no see. She swiped her employee card to open the access control and gestured for me to follow her inside. You're here to see Zane, right? I just finished a meeting with him. He shouldn't be busy now. Though she was merely his subordinate, it felt as if she and he belonged to the same world, while I, his future Mrs. Zhou, seemed to exist in a different dimension altogether. I walked toward the office area. Thank you. I'll go to his office myself. No need to trouble you. The words came out cold and detached. I wouldn't believe myself if I said there was no emotion behind them. Sky Ching smiled faintly. All right, I'll get back to work then. When I arrived at the door of Zhou's office, his assistant, Gao Yuan, looked at me with a hint of surprise. I rarely visited Zhou at his company unless it was something particularly important. Belle, you're here. He blocked my way, seemingly not wanting to let me in. I stood my ground. Xiao Gao, I need to see your general manager Zhou about something. Belle, General Manager Zhou just finished a meeting and is handling some matters now. Maybe you could wait here for a while. I'm feeling upset. Since when do I need an appointment to enter Zhou's office? Gao Yuan offered a servile smile. Let me make you a cup of coffee. No need. I'll wait for him right here. I sat down in the reception area outside Zhou's office, holding a document in my hand that desperately awaits Zhou's signature to save a life. My company's bankruptcy is now on a countdown, and I only have 3 days left to save it. A familiar voice sounded behind me. Xiao Gao, President Zhou wants to see me now. I didn't look up. The owner of this voice is too easy to recognize. It's unmistakably that woman, Skyching. Skyching's gaze seemed to sweep over me, but she didn't linger. Pushing open the door to Zhou's office and walking straight in, Gao Yuan scratched his head, looking somewhat awkward. Sister Belle, Vice President Ching and President Zhou have matters to discuss, so please don't take it personally, Vice President Ching. Zhou must really value Skyching. Back when he was at his lowest, I helped him make a comeback. After the company got out of trouble, I asked for the position of vice president. He refused and wanted me to resign and become the woman behind him. Unwilling to be idle, I founded my current company. Yet Skyching, a fresh graduate, effortlessly secured the position of vice president. The office echoed with Skyching's silvery, joyful laughter. Zhou is always serious at work, and probably no one except Skyching dares to laugh in front of him. My heart ached as if pricked by needles, and I felt restless, wanting to leave, but after glancing at the documents in my hands, I sat back down again. Finally, Skyching emerged from Zhou's office. Belle Sue, Zane is available now. You may go in. She greeted me with a smile, as if a family member welcoming a guest. I stood up, expressionless. Thank you, Vice President Ching. I enunciated the words Vice President Ching with particular clarity, the sarcasm dripping heavily. I walked into Zhou's office. The lingering scent of Skyching's perfume still filled his office, making me sneeze involuntarily. Zhou sat in his office chair, wearing an all-business expression. What brings you here? He asked. I handed over the document in my hand, Have you decided about investing in my company? Zane Zhou didn't take it, his expression blank. After deliberation by the company's senior management, we've decided not to invest in your company. I've already met with many investors, and they all find it strange why I didn't approach Zane Zhou directly. In their view, if even Zane Zhou isn't willing to help me, there must be something wrong with the project. So almost everyone has turned me down. Zane Zhou is my last hope. His response shattered the last glimmer of hope in my heart. Noticing the disappointment on my face, Zane Zhou explained, Belle, please understand that business is business. Regarding the decision to invest in your company, we have a strict evaluation process. I glanced at the documents on the table, where a line of neat handwriting read, after thorough consideration by the investment department, the decision has been made to reject the investment proposal for XX company signed by Skyching. I gritted my teeth, holding back tears. Mr. Zhou, thank you for your time. I turned and walked out. I wandered aimlessly down the street. Memories came flooding back one after another. To be honest, Zane Zhou has been quite good to me these past few years. Surprises for various anniversaries were never lacking. He always stays with me when I'm sick or feeling down, yet I've never appeared in his social media posts. He also rarely takes me to his private gatherings with friends. I used to think it was just because he's reserved and dislikes drawing too much attention, but now that Skyching is back, his eagerness to announce it to the world makes me see the difference. Perhaps he does love me, but there's someone he loves even more in his heart. When the one he loves more appears by his side, the other becomes just a compromise. I think it's time for everything to end. I returned home, packed up my belongings briefly, and then left. The house I currently live in was bought for me by Zane Zhou, a duplex apartment. He often comes to stay here, but in Blue Moon Bay, he has his own villa, which is also our new home. This apartment holds many of our memories, but when it came time to leave, I realized there was nothing worth taking except for some clothes and daily necessities. I pushed my suitcase straight to the airport. I bought a plane ticket to Yunnan. I've always wanted to experience that kind of leisurely, carefree courtyard life. I used to beg Zane Zhou to go with me, but he always made excuses about being too busy with work to leave. After boarding the plane and settling into my seat, I received a call from the hotel asking about the details of my wedding next month. I directly informed them that the wedding had been cancelled. The hotel staff tactfully mentioned that even though the wedding was cancelled, we still needed to pay a penalty fee. I immediately agreed, deduct it from the deposit, take whatever amount is necessary. After all, it was Zane Zhou who paid the deposit, so I didn't feel the slightest bit of heartache. After hanging up the phone, I switched my phone to airplane mode, put on an eye mask, and fell asleep. During the plane's descent, it encountered turbulence and suddenly began shaking violently up and down. I was jolted awake from my sleep. A wave of fear surged in my heart, and I instinctively grabbed the arm of the person beside me. The sweet voice of the flight attendant came over the intercom, reassuring passengers not to be afraid. Apart from the flight attendant's voice, the plane was eerily quiet, with passengers hardly daring to breathe. After a series of bumps, the aircraft gradually stabilized. I let out a long sigh. Finally, it's over, ma'am, are you okay? A pleasant male voice beside me made me realize I was still gripping the arm of the person next to me. I looked up, and a pair of handsome eyes met my gaze. The man's features were sharply defined, his pupils deep and dark, yet exuding an air of pure youthful spirit. It's you. The corners of the man's lips curled up. I released his arm and looked at the person before me, feeling a vague sense of familiarity but unable to recall who he was at the moment. Belle Su. He called out my name accurately. Who are you? Jax Liu. Ah, I remember now. Jax Liu is a famous investor. I once made an appointment with him, hoping he would invest in my company, but that day Zane Zhou suddenly called and asked me to accompany him to an awards ceremony, so I stood him up. Jax Liu smiled meaningfully. You really are a busy person with a short memory. I felt a bit embarrassed but still asked, Mr. Liu, I don't remember us meeting before, although we had an appointment that time. Still, but you stood me up. Jax Liu tilted his head slightly, but I was also at that awards ceremony you attended that day, and I went to the celebration party after the awards ceremony too. After the awards ceremony that day, Zane Zhou proposed to me at the celebration party. There weren't many people present at the time, and I never expected Jax Liu to be there too, so that's what it was. Mr. Liu, it's not that I don't remember you, it's that I genuinely didn't know you before, I explained to myself. Jax Liu smiled nonchalantly. It's fine, Miss Su. Are you planning to travel to Yunnan? I nodded. What a coincidence. Me too, Miss Su. Would you be interested in being my travel companion? I had already prepared a solo travel itinerary and didn't want to change my plans for someone else. Mr. Liu, but I just want to wander around alone at my own pace. Bringing someone else along might be a bit inconvenient. Jax Liu's face showed a hint of grievance. I just decided to travel on a whim without any plans. Right now, I don't even know where to go after the plane lands. I was slightly surprised. Mr. Liu didn't make any plans at all. He nodded. Exactly. That's what makes it a spontaneous trip. I promise I'll follow your lead completely and won't make any demands. Miss Sue, could you take me along? I thought about it and agreed, since traveling alone does have its inconveniences. If he doesn't interfere with my travel plans, it might be worth considering going together. Jaxlu winked at me, and the sight of this handsome guy acting cute made my heart skip a beat. Alright, if you don't have other plans, we can travel together, but you'll have to listen to everything I say. I emphasized the last sentence to make it clear that this was my condition for agreeing to travel with him. Jaxlu curled his lips into a smile. Don't worry, I'll definitely listen to everything you say. At that moment, the plane smoothly touched down on the ground. Jaxlu eagerly helped me retrieve the suitcase from the overhead compartment, and his way of addressing me had changed too. Team Leader Sue, let's go. I had already booked a homestay by the shore of Arai Lake. The homestay has a small courtyard, and the room features floor-to-ceiling windows facing the entire Arai Lake. In the early morning, sunlight streams through the glass windows into the room, allowing you to gaze at the tranquil lake surface from the comfort of your bed. When I first saw the photos of this homestay's room online, I immediately booked it without hesitation. We rented a car at the airport and drove straight to Dolly at the front desk of the guest house. The owner apologized. I'm sorry, we're fully booked today. Only the room you reserved in advance is available. I widened my eyes. No way, didn't we just call to ask you to hold an extra room for us? I'm really sorry, I made a mistake earlier. All the rooms have been booked out. Not wanting to give up my room and go to another guest house, I had no choice but to look at Jaxlu and say, I'm sorry. How about I help you find another guest house? Jaxlu shook his head. It's so late. Where do you expect me to find a place to stay? It's pitch black outside. I'm scared. Me. The boss looked at him, then at me. Actually, our rooms are quite spacious. Jaxlu gave me a pleading look. Team Leader Sue, how about letting me crash in your room for the night? I was the one who brought him here, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility toward him. Alright then, let's add another bed in the room. Jaxlu smiled. Team Leader Sue, you're really kind. I wasn't too happy about it, but I pretended to be generous. It's the least I can do. The night passed without incident. The first thing I did when I opened my eyes the next morning was to draw back the floor-to-ceiling curtains. Fresh morning light flooded into the room in an instant. Sunlight filtered through the clouds, scattering across the lake's surface. The Tyndall effect made it seem as if one were glimpsing a vision of heaven. It's so beautiful. A man's voice came from behind. I turned around to see Jaxlu with messy hair, staring blankly out the floor-to-ceiling window. Feeling somewhat proud, I said, now you know why I insisted on living here. Jaxlu didn't answer. He emerged halfway from under the blanket and stretched his arms. He was wearing loose silk pajamas, with the top two buttons undone, revealing his attractive collarbones. My face flushed slightly, and I quickly turned my gaze toward the floor-to-ceiling window. Hurry up and get out of bed. We have quite a full schedule today. To cover up my fluster, I deliberately spoke sternly to Jaxlu. Understood, Team Leader Sue. Just give me 10 minutes. Jaxlu immediately jumped out from under the covers. I went downstairs first to have breakfast at the restaurant. Jaxlu indeed finished washing up in just 10 minutes, changed into outdoor attire, and came downstairs. The itinerary for the day was all arranged by me. Jaxlu was very cooperative, accompanying me up mountains and down to the sea without a single complaint, even taking on the role of my personal photographer. By the time we returned to the guest house in the evening, it was already very late. I went to the front desk to ask if there were any extra rooms available. The owner looked regretful. No one has checked out today. I was just about to ask if there were any nearby guest houses when Jaxlu spoke up first. That's really unfortunate, Team Leader Sue. I'll have to trouble you to take me in for the night again. The words of refusal reached my throat, but I swallowed them back. Today I had Jaxlu work as my photographer all day, and I really couldn't bear to kick him out so late. Back in the room, I went to take a shower first. When I came out after showering, Jaxlu was holding my phone in a daze. As soon as he saw me come out, he quickly handed me the phone. Zane Zhou called you earlier. I thought it might be urgent since he kept calling, so I answered. But it seems he misunderstood. I frowned. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Do you think he'll give you trouble? I reassured Jaxlu. We've already broken up. If he misunderstood, that's his problem, not yours. I picked up my phone and walked toward the balcony. Zane Zhou is a very possessive person. Even if he no longer cares, the moment he learns someone else is involved, he won't let go willingly. I dialed the number, and Zane Zhou answered immediately. Belle Sue, where are you? Who are you with? Why did you call off the wedding? He was nearly shouting into the phone. I remained Silent. After he finally calmed down a bit, I slowly replied, Zane Zhou, I called off the wedding because I no longer want to marry you. Our engagement is cancelled. As for your other questions, I'm sorry but I don't owe you any answers. Zane Zhou's voice, which had just settled, erupted in fury again. Belle Su, who gave you the nerve to cancel the wedding? I didn't say cancel. How dare you cancel? Zane Zhou, when it comes to feelings, if one person says stop, it has to stop. I don't need your permission, do I? Zane Zhou paused for a moment on the other end. Soon, his voice softened. Belle Su, are you just throwing a tantrum with me? What's with the attitude? Are you upset because I didn't invest in your company? Belle, what's so great about that lousy company of yours? After we get married, I'll take care of you. You don't need to worry so much. What do you mean by lousy company? That company is my life's work. But Zane Zhou, I don't blame you for not wanting to invest in it then. Why are you angry? I'm not angry. Zane Zhou, then why do you want to break up? Because I want to break up. Belle Su, there was a silence on the phone, neither of us speaking. After a while, I heard Sky Cheng's voice coming from Zane Zhou's side. Zane, come quickly. Everyone's waiting for you. I hung up the phone and blocked all of Zane Zhou's contact methods one by one. After finishing all this, I felt a sense of relief, as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Back in the room, Jax Lu was still awake. He had finished showering, dressed in his pajamas, and was sitting by his small bed, probably waiting for me under the warm yellow light. His dark eyes sparkled as he asked, "Are you okay?" I slightly curled the corners of my lips. "It's nothing." His eyes burned as he looked at me. "Did you two break up?" I didn't think there was any need to hide it, so I nodded. "Yeah, we did." "Then, would you consider giving me a chance?" My heart skipped a beat, and my tongue tied a little. What did you say?" Jax Lu grinned, looking utterly carefree. "I was just kidding, just wanted to cheer you up a bit." I smiled. "Thanks, I'm actually not unhappy. This relationship has already headed in an irreversible direction, and breaking up is a relief for both of us. In fact, I might even be happier." Jax Lu looked at me, seemingly unconvinced by my words. "That's good then, but if you're not happy, it's okay, I won't laugh at you." I was embarrassed that he saw through my thoughts, so I commanded him in a team leader's tone, "Go to sleep quickly. Tomorrow will be another day packed with activities." The next day, while Jax Lu and I were having breakfast, my assistant Xiaoyu called me. Xiaoyu's voice was brimming with barely contained excitement. "Belle, President Zhou has agreed to invest in our company." I answered without hesitation, "No, I won't accept it." Xiaoyu must have thought I'd gone crazy. She tentatively asked, "Belle, did you have a fight with Mr. Zhou? How could you pass up such a great opportunity? With this investment, we could turn things around. No one would have to leave the company." I knew Zane Zhou was just unwilling to let go. I'd been chasing after him for so many years, and he's grown accustomed to having me silently take care of everything behind his back. Now, I'm actually leaving him. He's a man with a strong need for control and can't tolerate me pushing him away. I just want to make a clean break with him and have nothing to do with him anymore. But Xiaoyu's words forced me to reconsider Zane Zhou's investment. What I can't let go of the most about the company's dissolution is my fellow partners who started the business with me. Before I left, I had already instructed Xiaoyu and the HR department to provide everyone with sufficient severance pay. However, from the feedback Xiaoyu gave me, what everyone is even more reluctant about is leaving the company they helped establish from the ground up. I knew I couldn't act on impulse, so I sighed and said, "Xiaoyu, let me think about it some more." Xiaoyu seemed to understand something. "Belle, no matter what decision you make, we all support you." I hung up the phone, but my heart couldn't calm down. Zane Zhou was using this to force me to compromise with him, and I couldn't let go of my entrepreneurial partners either. Jax Lu looked at me. "What happened?" I forced a bitter smile. "Before coming to Yunnan, I thought my company was about to go under, but just now, I learned there's a chance to revive it, yet I don't want to take it." "Tell me, am I crazy?" Jax Lu frowned. "Is the reason you don't want to accept this opportunity because you can't accept the investor?" I was surprised by his insight and nodded. "This situation is quite common. If you ask me, I'd advise that if you don't approve of the investor, don't take their money." I understand the reasoning, but I don't want to let my friends down. Jax Lu, then would you consider me? I'm willing to be your investor. Are you sure? You don't even seem to know what my company does. Yet Jax Lu smiled. "Sometimes investing is about betting on the person. I believe in you as a founder, and that makes it worth investing. Come on, tell me about your company." I immediately put today's itinerary out of my mind, took out my laptop, turned it on, and began introducing my company to Jax Lu at the dining table of the guest house. 2 hours later, Jax Lu and I signed the investment agreement. I happily called Xiaoyu. "Xiaoyu, our company is saved." "Sis Belle, have you decided to accept Mr. Zhou's investment, no, I found a new investor, sis Belle, your efficiency is truly admirable. Suddenly, I heard Zhou's voice coming from Xiaoyu's phone. Belle Su, where are you? Why won't you accept my investment, right now? I'm the only one willing to invest in your failing company. If you reject me, you're doomed. Xiaoyu's panicked voice rang out. Zhou, President Zhou, what brings you here? Afraid that Zhou might give Xiaoyu a hard time. I said, Zhou, my company has already found a new investor. Don't trouble my employee. Zhou's voice carried a hint of mockery. A new investor. None of the investors you know are willing to back you. Who else could possibly invest in you? How do you know none of them are willing to invest in me? Did you say something to them? Zhou paused for a moment, then softened his voice. Belle, I just don't want you to work so hard. After you marry me, why not just stay home and be my woman? My heart turned ice cold in an instant. Gritting my teeth, I said, Zhou, you're despicable. Who wants to be your woman? We've already broken up, and my company has found new investors. Get out of my company now, or I'll have security escort you out. Zhou, Belle, listen to me. I hung up the phone and slapped it face down on the table with a sharp thud. Lu watched coldly, remarking, seems like Mr. Zhou is completely out of the picture now. I declared resolutely, I want him completely out of my life. Lu and I followed my travel itinerary and had a great time exploring, returning to the homestay very late. No one checked out of the homestay again today, which means Lu has to share a room with me once more now that he's my investor, essentially my financial backer. I feel a bit awkward about kicking him out. Thinking about it, he's actually been quite well behaved these past 2 days without any inappropriate behavior, so I decided to let him continue sharing the room with me after taking a shower. Just as I was about to go to sleep, Zhou's childhood friend Zhang Rui gave me a call. Belle Su, Zhou is drunk and insists that you come pick him up. Where are you? Hurry over, I sneered. Sorry, I'm busy. Zhang Rui was taken aback. In the past, whenever Zhou got drunk, he would call me to go pick him up no matter how late it is. I'll dutifully rush over without complaint. My current response must have surprised Zhang Rui. Belle Su, is it really you? You're actually ignoring Zhou. Zhang Rui, I've already broken up with him. Please don't call me about his matters anymore. Belle Su, are you serious? You're throwing a tantrum with Zhou just because Skyching is back, aren't you? Let me tell you, there's no way they'll get back together. Skyching was the one who abandoned Zhou and went abroad back then. Even if Zhou had no self-respect left, he wouldn't reconcile with her. Zhang Rui, stop it. I'm just genuinely tired, and it has nothing to do with Skyching. From now on, he has nothing to do with me anymore. At that moment, I heard Zhou shouting loudly on the other end of the phone, Belle Su, you can't give up on me. Don't you like me a lot? I know, back when my company was in trouble, it was you who sold the house your parents left you to help me through the crisis. Belle Su, I know all about that. You won't leave me, right? Zhou was right, that did indeed happen back then. Skyching left without a word, leaving Zhou devastated. I sold my house and had Zhang Rui give the money to Zhou. Afraid his pride wouldn't let him accept it directly, so I told him the money was from Zhang Rui. I had specifically asked Zhang Rui not to tell Zhou about this. It seems Zhang Rui didn't keep his promise. Zhou, I did love you once, but it's all in the past now. Let's each find our own peace. I hung up the phone and promptly blocked Zhang Rui's contact as well. Lu sat aside playing with his phone. Suddenly, he clicked his tongue in surprise. Zhou posted so many moments at once. That's rare. He held the phone screen up to me. The person in the photo looks so much like you. I took a closer look, and sure enough, all the photos Zhou posted were of him and me together. Back then, I was still leaning on him, laughing brightly, full of dreams for the future. Zhou wrote, Belle, come back quickly. I miss you so much. I let out a cold, mocking laugh. It's too late. They say delayed affection is cheaper than grass. Who is he trying to impress with this sudden show of deep love now? By the way, President Liu, I plan to go back tomorrow. Lu widened his eyes. I haven't had enough fun yet. You're leaving already. It's not because of Zhou, is it? I replied indifferently. President Liu, you're overthinking it. With your investment, I need to return and stand side by side with my team to ensure your investment yields returns as soon as possible. Lu muttered. Making money isn't urgent. I'd rather you stay and spend more time with me. I pulled out a stack of papers. Mr. Liu, here's the guide I made. You can continue playing according to it. I won't be accompanying you tomorrow. Lu took my guide with a look of regret. Alright, then I'll just have to explore on my own. The next day, Lu went out alone very early to watch the sunrise. Following my guide, I booked my return flight ticket and then went to the front desk to check out. The boss told me that Jax Lu has already paid for these days' accommodation and even extended the room booking. I didn't insist on paying for my own stay. I guess I'm working for him now, and him covering a few days of my accommodation counts as a company team building activity before packing up and leaving the guest house. The boss mysteriously told me we actually had available rooms these past few days, but Mr. Lu wouldn't let me tell you. He insisted I say we were fully booked. The boss smiled apologetically. I didn't want to lie to you, but he was just offering too much money. I frowned. Aren't you afraid I'll leave a bad review for your homestay online? I believe you wouldn't. You seem like a kind person at first glance. Alright, you're quite perceptive, but I have one request. Could you charge Mr. Lu double the room rate? If you don't do this, I'll really leave you a bad review. Back at the company, after a brief meeting with the team, we immediately dove into the intense workload. I've come to understand the importance of positive cash flow. I don't want to face the embarrassment of losing my company again. Zhou didn't bother me anymore. The guide I gave to Jax Lu was a 1-month itinerary. When he returns from his trip, I hope to show him that my company has overcome its difficulties and is back on track. But 3 days later, Jax Lu came back. When he showed up at my company, I was a bit surprised. Was my travel guide not interesting enough? Why did you come back so soon? Jax Lu scratched his head and laughed. I was eager to check out the new project I just invested in. As for traveling, I still prefer having a guide to show me around. His gaze was fervent as he looked at me. Is there anything the company needs help with? At the mention of this, I got excited and began pouring out the company's difficulties to him nonstop. A good investor should bring more than just capital to a company, experience and connections too. In the following period, he spent a lot of time immersed in my company. His insights and judgments about the market and marketing have been a great help to me. He helped me clarify the development path of the company and formulate new marketing strategies. The company began to achieve positive cash flow. Simply put, my company started making money. We held a small celebration banquet. When I proudly announced our profits over the past month, I saw tears in everyone's eyes. Our hard work has finally paid off. We've started making profits and achieved self-sustaining capabilities. We've pulled ourselves back from the brink of bankruptcy. I raised my glass and looked at Jax Lu. President Lu, the person I should thank the most is you. Jax Lu smiled and said, you should thank me, but the person you should thank the most is yourself. Our glasses clinked together with a crisp clink, and I felt a slight tremor in my heart. His gaze upon me grew more intense and fervent, yet I turned my head away, looking in another direction. Perhaps aided by the alcohol, my heart was racing too fast, and I feared he might notice my nervousness. The company's performance was improving, and I was becoming increasingly busy. Though I often felt the burning gaze of Jax Lu upon me, I chose to ignore him. One day, Jax Lu sent me an email about a selection of female business leaders, and he could recommend someone he thought was suitable. I recommended you. I'm flattered. Trust me, you deserve it. I think so too. Let's wait and see. On the day the candidate list was announced, I saw Skycheng's name. No need to guess, Skycheng must have been recommended by Zhou. Jax Lu casually mentioned to me, Zhou recommended Skycheng to generate publicity for the company. After all, Skycheng is now his deputy. However, I heard Skycheng isn't doing too well in the company right now. Zhou is too controlling, and Skycheng feels constrained by him. It seems there's quite a bit of tension between them. I pursed my lips. I've worked with Zhou before. He's someone who stubbornly insists on his own way, refusing to listen to anyone else's opinions. He only trusts himself. Then why did you recommend me? Jax Lu looked serious. Because I believe you deserve this title. Over this period, I've witnessed your business acumen and your unwavering determination in the face of setbacks. You should stand taller and let more people see you. It will greatly benefit your career development. Moreover, your brilliance deserves to be seen by more people. Jax Lu gazed at me, his eyes sparkling. I understood that Jax Lu was using his influence to lift me up, and I sincerely said to him, thank you, Jax Lu. Jax Lu's gaze suddenly softened. If you win the award, can you promise to fulfill one of my wishes? My heart trembled like a plucked string, vibrating gently with lingering echoes. I lowered my head and whispered softly, I promise you. At the awards ceremony a month later, I attended together with Jax Lu as companions. I was wearing a long black evening gown, paired with a set of Australian white pearl necklace and earrings. This outfit was prepared for me by Jax Lu. I originally just wanted to wear a low-key black suit, but he insisted on dragging me to the mall to buy a new dress and jewelry. He said, today might be one of the highlights of your life. You must let more people see you and not hide your brilliance. I walked into the venue arm in arm with Jax Lu, who was dressed in a dark formal suit, and ran into Zhou and Skycheng. Zhou's gaze fell on my hand linked with Jax Lu's. His lips twitched, and his expression darkened. Skycheng looked at me and extended a hand with a smile. Belle Sue, I didn't expect to see you at an event like this. The corners of my lips curled as I lifted my chin and briefly touched Sky Cheng's hand. Neither did I. After all, you're just a deputy general manager. Sky Cheng's expression suddenly changed. Belle Sue, don't get too cocky. Am I being cocky? I'm just stating the facts, that's right. Sky Cheng is now only the deputy general manager of Zhangzhou's company, while I already have my own company, and a recent valuation from an investment firm shows that my company's worth is almost on par with Zhangzhou's. Seeing Sky Cheng's embarrassment, Zhangzhou gave me a deep look before pulling Sky Cheng away. Jax Lu glanced at me with a smile. President Su, the awards ceremony is about to begin, you should take your seat now. I followed Jax Lu to the seats arranged by the organizers. A few seats away sat Zhangzhou and Sky Cheng. The awards ceremony began as my head was spinning from a long string of speeches. I suddenly heard my name mentioned by the person on stage. Jax Lu leaned in and whispered in my ear, they're about to announce the winner. No sooner had he spoken than I heard the voice from the stage. Congratulations to this year's most influential female business leader, Belle Sue. Jax Lu excitedly hugged me. Belle Sue, congratulations, you won. Then someone came to lead me onto the stage to receive the award, and I delivered my acceptance speech under the gaze of the audience below. Then, surrounded by camera flashes, I stepped down from the podium. The entire process felt like a dream, leaving me in a daze. It wasn't until I sat back down in the audience and tightly grasped Jax Lu's arm beside me that I felt my feet firmly on the ground. Returning to reality, I leaned close to Jax Lu's ear and whispered, Jax Lu, did I really win the award? Pinch me, I need to know if I'm dreaming. Jax Lu raised his hand, but instead of pinching me, he gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. You're not dreaming, it's real. Now that you've won, shouldn't you fulfill your promise? I looked up at him and asked, what promise? Jax Lu replied, you said you'd grant me one wish. I remember I did say that. I can probably guess what Jax Lu's wish is. I could feel the affectionate way he's been looking at me lately. Blushing slightly, I lowered my head and said, go on, what's your wish? Jax Lu leaned close to my ear and whispered, my wish is to complete your travel guide together with you. Wait, how is this wish different from what I imagined? Looking at my stunned expression, Jax Lu flashed a sly smile. Team leader Sue, is that okay? I nodded, sure, of course it is. In an instant, I felt a scorching gaze from not far away landing on me. I followed the gaze and saw it was Zhangzhou. Sky Cheng was also looking at me, but her expression was far from friendly. Zhangzhou stepped away from Sky Cheng, who had been holding his arm, and walked over, extending his hand to me. Congratulations, Belle. I didn't reach out, just calmly said, thank you. The day after the awards ceremony, Jax Lu and I flew to Yunnan, beginning our independent travel journey. On the first day, we returned to the same guest house we had visited together last time. This time, we booked 2 separate rooms under my stern and scrutinizing gaze. The guest house owner didn't dare to collude with Jax Lu again this time. After a day of fun, I returned to the guest house, took a shower, and was just about to sleep when Jax Lu suddenly knocked on my door. I opened the door, and Jax Lu showed me his phone. There, prominently displayed in his social media feed, was a picture Zhangzhou had just posted. The photo captured me on stage receiving an award yesterday. Zhangzhou captioned with a text, you are my pride. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Who exactly is his pride? Isn't his pride Sky Cheng? Jax Lu looked at me quietly, is that the point? I looked up, and his eyes full of grievance met mine. Then what is the point? Jax Lu knelt down on one knee, holding up a ring box. Belle Sue, marry me. The sudden proposal left me stunned. Jax Lu, stand up first. What kind of act are you putting on this time? Jax Lu remained kneeling properly on the ground, holding up the diamond ring. Belle Sue, I like you. I don't just want you to be my tour guide on this trip. I want you to be the guide for the rest of my life. As I looked at him, the emotions in my heart could no longer be held back. I nodded, I do. Jax Lu stood up and quickly slipped the ring onto my finger. Before I could say anything, a passionate kiss sealed my lips. After the long kiss ended, Jax Lu held my hand and took a photo. He posted this photo of our hands intertwined on his social media while complaining, actually, I was planning to propose to you after we reached the summit of the snow-capped mountain the day after tomorrow, but when I saw Zhangzhou's post, I decided to propose early. I leaned over to look at the post Jax Lu had shared. He had posted a photo of him holding my hand, with the large diamond ring in the picture being quite eye-catching. Jax Lu's caption read, Belle Sue, you will always be my pride. Thank you for agreeing to be the leader of my life from now on. Jax Lu will always be your most cooperative team member. Soon. His WeChat Moments post attracted numerous likes and comments, including some from investors I knew. Belle Sue Aren't you planning to post a WeChat Moments update too? I leaned back on the sofa, admiring my sparkling diamond ring. No need to rush, right? We just confirmed our relationship. Jaxlu looked at me seriously. Belle Sue, I'm serious about you, and I hope you are too, so, you'd better post an official announcement on WeChat Moments right now. Immediately, I leaned in close to him. No, not now. I have more important things to do. I tilted my head up and kissed Jaxlu's lips. The one you love most should not only be buried in your heart but also proclaimed to the world if it's the right person. Of course, let them shine in the sunlight.